please read the Open Public Meeting Act, please?
This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. This meeting of January 21st, 2020 was included in a notice sent to the newspapers of record and posted on a bulletin board in the municipal building and has remained continuously posted as the required notices under the statute. In addition, a copy of this notice has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk.
Vicki, could you proceed with roll call, please?
Council President Piazza.
Here.
Council Vice President McVeigh.
Here.
Councilman DeGirolamo.
Here.
Councilwoman, excuse me.
Here.
Councilman Colfer.
Here.
Councilman Wyatt.
Here.
Could everybody please stand for the invocation and flag salute?
We gather together here today intent on doing good work. We seek to represent fairly and well those who have given us this task. May our efforts be blessed with insight, guided by understanding and wisdom. We seek to serve with respect for all. May our personal faiths give us the strength to act honestly and well in all matters before us. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First thing on our agenda is a proclamation for Phillipsburg School Choice Week.
Proclamation, Phillipsburg School Choice Week. A proclamation commemorating Phillipsburg School Choice Week. Whereas all children in Phillipsburg should have access to highest quality education possible, and whereas Phillipsburg recognizes the important role that an effective education plays in preparing all students in Phillipsburg to be successful adults, and whereas quality education is critically important to the economic vitality of Phillipsburg, and whereas Phillipsburg is home to a multitude of excellent education options from which parents can choose for their children, and whereas education variety not only helps to diversify our economy, but also enhances the vibrancy of our community, and whereas our area has many high-quality teaching professionals who are committed to educating our children, and whereas School Choice Week is celebrated across the country by millions of students, parents, educators, schools, and organizations to raise awareness of the need for effective educational options. Now, therefore, the governing body of the town of Phillipsburg do hereby recognize January 26th through February the 1st, 2020 as Phillipsburg School Choice Week, and we can call this observant to the attention of all of our citizens. Thank you very much.
Okay, we have a few people here in our attendance for discussion here tonight. First, I'd like to welcome Mary Jo Harris to update us on the goings-on of the MPP program.
Have to state my name.
Now, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you for having me. How is everybody doing? Good?
Very good.
Good. So I just wanted to let you know that based on the timeline that the state has given Phillipsburg to get the MPP program done, you are actually on schedule, even though you're really like 6 months behind. But we worked diligently and in collaboration with everybody that we could. Thank you to everybody on the council and to our community members that are in the audience, that we were able to get this done as quickly as we could. So if you look in your folder on the right-hand side, and I'm not going to go through this verbatim, but I just want to let you know where you stand right now with the MPP. So we have ticked up every single benchmark. We are at where it says after January 10th on the timeline, on that first page on the right-hand side. Right now, the MPP plan is being written. And there were some steps that we had to go through first before we could get you to that point. So right behind that timeline is exactly what we have done and what we're up to. So if you can just take that out, and I'll just go over this with you just quickly so you can get an idea of where we are. So we had to wait, obviously, for the shared service agreement to be adopted. So that was December 3rd. As soon as that happened, we had a meeting that Thursday with our MPP team. Through the next 2 weeks, from the 4th to the 20th, we did a survey. I'm happy to tell you that Phillipsburg had 348 or 353, something like that, responses to the survey. That's the highest of all the MPP programs. So all 21 programs are out there across the state. Phillipsburg had the highest in their survey results. So go Phillipsburg, because I think the residents are really excited about what this is going to do for Phillipsburg. During that time, we also had focus groups of stakeholders and residents that are listed there. And from the 21st, when we ended the survey and data collection, up until January the 3rd, we have been working on analyzing all the data. The MPP team then did meet on January 6th. I believe it was Mayor Tresigny and Council President Gauser were also invited to that meeting. They were not officially on the team, but they were invited to that meeting. And you can see where some of the key findings are. The questions that were asked on the survey, reasons for not visiting South Main Street, what would you like to see happening on South Main Street, what are the top priorities that should be addressed, and then we looked at your strengths and your weaknesses and that footprint that the state had agreed on. So if you look at this timeline, if you want to just take a look really quick, on page 1, reasons for not visiting South Main, it kind of tried to bold everything. They said there were too few businesses that they had no interest in. The cleanliness and the lack of street amenities, meaning benches, garbage cans, planters, bike parking, things like that. There was a lack, they felt there was almost 81% they don't come because of lack of dining and entertainment. What would you like to see happen on South Main Street? More events, vibrant mixed-use buildings, and that your storefronts and businesses could use some improvement. The facade, that's what they're addressing. And then they are also asked, what were your top priorities to be addressed? 96% said keeping the district clean. For those of you who know me, that's what I always start out with, low-hanging fruit. If the most vibrant economy going, if you have a dirty downtown or a dirty area, you're going to get your business from locals. No one's going to come here to do their shopping. No one's going to come here to stay and visit. So low-hanging fruit is always just clean it up, because then when something looks out of place, it is out of place. 93% said enhancing the historic features. As you know, Phillipsburg is very historic, filled with many, many historic buildings. Some that are, should be repaired, maybe some that should be removed, but don't lose sight of the historic value of what you have here in Phillipsburg. 90% said to add a mixed use of retail and dining. And then 78% said public seating, planters, other streetscapes, and improved parking. The strengths, what they were asked, if you look on page 3 where it says the future, they were asked to just use one word that comes to mind when they imagine what Phillipsburg, what South Main Street would look like in the next 5 years. And you can see just that visual, the words that pop out. People believe that in the next 5 years, South Main could be vibrant, thriving, revitalized, hopeful, potential. So, and clean, all those things just pop to the top out of those 350 surveys. Your weaknesses would be a lack of destination businesses, meaning, do people come here because they're familiar with their business, or somebody out in Hunterdon County said, you've got to go to Phillipsburg, you've got to shop at this store, or even Bergen County residents saying, you've got to go to Phillipsburg to this store, or you have to go to the restaurant. Those are destinations that people are looking for. People do come. A couple of the stores that were identified were your cycle fanatics, and the new vegan restaurant. That was something that kept rising to the top, that people come from out of town for those two places, one a store and one a restaurant. They wanted a need for addressing safety concern, lack of lighting, lack of connection between green spaces. You have Walters Park, Chappelle Park, Delaware River Park, but there's really no saying what goes on here or there and how to get there and what's to be used there, the times of the parks and things like that. No signage pointing you from one park to the other, not indicating even where you have parks in the town. And then when you asked them what was one word that comes to mind when you think of South Main Street today, rundown, dirty, dangerous, unsafe, and depressed, which we know that already. We don't like to look at the weaknesses, we want to build on all the strengths, what your assets are. So if you look on page 4, the goals that have been identified, and they're not lengthy, but I did include something in your packet to look at now, that gives you a little bit more explanations as to these goals. Goal number 1 would be to leverage and develop assets to drive activity. I would suggest, and we'll be meeting with the mayor on Thursday, to look at the resources, financial resources that you have now. Don't just rely on this MPP funding. Because as you know, I say only $100,000. That's not a lot of money. What the state would like to see is that we spend this, 75% of that be spent by June 30th. So if you can look at what you have, just kind of, I don't want to see sitting around, but if you have any extra funding that has been there and hasn't been used, think about leveraging some of that to go into some of these projects here, so that we're not limited on just this little project because we don't have enough money. So think along those lines. What kind of funds do you have now to add to this? Goal 2 is improve the look, feel, and function of public spaces, and goal 3 is foster a vibrant business district. So again, potential projects, low-hanging fruit. What can you get done by June the 30th? I've been talking with Corey Sullivan about the banners. That was brought up at the last meeting. I did call our partners at New Jersey Community Capital. I said, put that in the budget. Just right now, just put it in the budget. Corey had a conversation, how much it would cost, what he was looking for just for the brackets. They said, put it in the budget, because town council is one that's going to approve it. They don't want it, they don't want it, but put it in there now, just right up the top. Let's put that in there now. Lighting, and lighting can mean anything from safety lighting to uplighting, lighting the Black Bridge, lighting your statue in Chappelle Park, 4th of July, red, white, and blue, how you see like the Statue of Liberty. State liners win something, light up a statue somewhere. So lighting is not just about safety, not just about light, your light poles out on the streets and things like that. So think along those lines. More events. One of the things that we did ask the state, I called Jeff, who is your administrator for MPP from the state. I asked him if we could expand your footprint to also include Market Street, which has a railroad excursion, because that was the #1 thing that was identified through the surveys and your focus groups, is that the identity of Phillipsburg is not utilizing the asset of having that railroad excursion. 120,000 people coming through here from May until October. I gave you their schedule in here. But having events that coincide with those railroad excursions. Also having pop-up stores, seasonal pop-up stores. You don't have to have something open from January to December. What's going on with the railroad excursion, bringing people in and having seasonal pop-up stores. Another thing is murals, either whether it's on your streets or on the sidewalks. I did give this out, and I can send you the link to this. I'll give it to you and you can just kind of look at it while you're looking. I don't need this copy back. But it gives you some examples of what those murals look like. You could paint a crosswalk and it would liven up the downtown. You can paint, a big side of a building, or you can just paint a wall. But having murals actually brightens up your streetscape, and it tells people kind of what's going on in your downtown area. Parking, simple thing about parking is just painting lawns where cars are supposed to park. I noticed in your downtown on South Main Street, I know it's supposed to park by a meter, but I wasn't quite sure. Do I park here? So even just by designating parking spaces with lines for parking tells people that, first of all, there's rules to be followed. I gotta park here. I may have to put money in the meter, but there's available parking. When you see cars parked and there's a line here, that's an empty spot. There's no lines, doesn't mean that there's a parking spot. There's no parking here. not even gonna try. And then the last one was uniformity in signage. I noticed, even just coming here a year ago, that there's a lot of different signs for, I guess you have something called the flats, the hills, Earthtown, you know, there's all those different signs. Then you have really not any signs saying where your parks are. Or you have signs that are this big, and then you have signs that are this big, and then you have signs that are this low, and then you have some signs that are up here, that if there was some kind of uniformity to your signage, and that there is signage, that also will bring people into your community. I don't want to leave anything that I know I'm taking a lot of time here. Yeah, I think that's it. So I think that the one thing that we're going to have to, and make sure that you're in agreement with, because once we submit this plan to the state, they have to approve it first before it comes before you to vote on. We have been in contact with Jeff, so we're going to send him just a rough draft of what we have now. He said we're on the right track just from the conversations I've been having with him. But the important part is that we want to extend the footprint to include Market Street, which includes the railroad excursion. I don't know that you have to vote on that. I think it's just okay when we submit the plan, that you would vote on it then. And then the last thing, when I meet with the mayor, there is a monthly report that has to be done. And I need data on how many businesses you have, how many open, how many are closed. Did they provide full-time jobs? I need information on how many houses, residential, rentals, were there any improvements done? I also need to know for the report, was it private investment or public investment that went to doing any of these improvements? So we'll be kind of chatting about that on Thursday as well. I know it's a lot, right?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to
No,
get
that's
it
fine.
as much as I can.
No, that's great.
Any
I know
questions?
myself and the mayor, we learned a lot when we visited you at that meeting, and Councilwoman DeGirolamo, who sits on your panel, is well aware of what you do. But if Councilman Wyant, do you have any questions or input?
No, I don't, thank you.
Councilwoman DeGirolamo, anything to add? No. Councilman Fulton?
No, sir.
Council Vice President?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank you for all your hard work, and when we were there, we saw a lot of brainstorming and great ideas coming forward. So hopefully it all comes together in the end for us.
Great.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay. Next up for discussion is Lauren Spence from the Lehigh Valley Chamber, representing Old Town Festival.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you all so much for allowing me this opportunity. I'm here tonight on behalf of the Phillipsburg Old Town Festival Committee to request council support of beer sales at the 2020 festival. This year's festival will be taking place Friday, June 19th at Chappell Park, and Saturday, June 20th at Walters Park. As I'm sure you all know, this is the longest running festival in Phillipsburg, and it is the biggest fundraiser for many of our community nonprofits and youth organizations who participate as vendors. We charge them absolutely nothing to participate and to fundraise with us throughout the course of the festival weekend. We have several reasons for requesting permission to sell alcohol at this year's festival. First and foremost, of course, is revenue. As I'm sure you all can guess, a festival of this magnitude costs a lot to put on each year. We have extensive expenses from live entertainment, tent rentals, advertising and marketing, fireworks, the amusement rides, in addition to the increased difficulty and challenges we have getting sponsorship dollars. So having the revenue from alcohol sales would be huge for our festival and definitely benefit its sustainability moving forward, in addition to being an attraction for attendees both in the town and outside the town. All of the festivals that occur throughout the Lehigh Valley region, for the most part, all have alcohol sales, and it's something we've heard year after year as feedback that people would like to have as something that's offered, and we'd like to, have Phillipsburg competing with all of our other neighboring communities that have alcohol sales. Finally, we'd like to support a new burgeoning Phillipsburg business. As all of you know, Invertage Brewing Company is our Phillipsburg craft brewery, and they have expressed interest in selling beer at this year's Old Town Festival. So with council's blessing, we'd love the opportunity to really put them on the map and give them the exposure of being our beer vendor. Any concerns that council has, we're here to address them and to help work and collaborate together to make sure that it's safe for everyone involved, and that's why we're here now in January to prepare for the Summer's Festival. So thank you so much for this opportunity. Please, if you have any questions or concerns, I'd love to hear them so we can make sure we address them. Have a successful festival this year and for many years to come.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any questions, Councilman Wyatt?
No, I think it's the way of the festivals, you know, now and the future. I think giving it a try would be beneficial.
Councilwoman DeGrolman?
As long as it's not along the river, I'm good with it.
Awesome. It'll be in Walter's Park soon. No river.
Councilman Fulker, anything there?
The alcohol will be away from the children, like their tents. I know they had to have the tents for the children to play.
Oh, absolutely. So
Separate alcohol tent.
it would be completely separated, and it would be gated off, so no one would be passing anything outside. It would be on the complete other end of the park from the kids' craft canopy.
What do they use, bracelets?
We, in the past, have done bracelets and an ID station, and so the ID is checked once to get the bracelet and to purchase your beer ticket, and then it's checked again when you're actually receiving your drink.
Okay, thank you.
Council Vice President McVeigh?
I was on record before, I was a no for the previous alcohol because of the 4 liquor licenses that were in the very close proximity of the Riverside Way lot. And small businesses close to my heart, so therefore I supported that. But I did say on record that if this was to move to a location where it was void of alcohol, such as Walters Park or Chappelle, who only has 1 liquor license down there, I would revisit that and more likely be in favor of it. Councilman Fulker brought up and you did too, about the identification. I know myself in my place of employment, there's a zero. Where I work at the arena, I get carded if I've had a game. So I would hope that if and when this comes to fruition, that there would be a very strong or possibly even zero policy on identification, meaning everyone's going to show identification, so the town, we will be void of any liability at that point in time when it comes to that, because the fines are very steep, and if we're going to move forward with this, we want to keep it. So we don't want to lose it, so we have to be very strict and stern, and whoever the chamber puts in there would have to be responsible enough to do that job with a smile.
Absolutely.
So, all right. Good
Thank
luck,
you.
Laura.
I like festivals. I like festivals that are run responsibly with alcohol. I always have a good time, and I've seen very successful festivals be running in the Lehigh Valley. So as long as the rules are followed and a good plan is in place, I don't see a reason why we can't move forward and discuss this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you
My
for your
pleasure.
time. Next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. Council meeting minutes, January 7th, 2020. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion? Councilman White?
I have none.
Councilwoman DeGrolman?
Yeah, it appears the vote was missing on the consent agenda. So if we could table it so Vicki could add that back in. And I don't see any issue, but there was a vote missing. I concurred with her before the meeting started.
Yeah, motion to table.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All right. Roll call.
Councilman Wyatt?
Yes.
Councilwoman DeGrolamo?
Yes.
Councilman Fulker?
Yes.
Council Vice President McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Piazza?
Yes. These minutes are tabled until the amendment can be made. Next on the agenda is Resolution 2020-31. It is a transfer of funds that must be approved prior to the paying of the bills. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. Councilman White?
This is the resolution, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Councilwoman DeGrolman?
Nothing.
Councilman Fulker?
No, sir.
Council Vice President?
Good, sir.
Roll call?
Councilman Wyatt?
Yes.
Councilwoman DeGrolamo?
Yes.
Councilman Fulker?
Yes.
Council Vice President McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Piazza?
Yes. Payment of bills. Vicki, would you mind reading the bill list, please?
The current fund, $171,931.77. State and federal grants, $206.08. Capital fund, $12,792.22. Sewage utility fund, $54,260.01. Bridge development, $2,115. Section 8, $1,749.41. The agency fund, $772.88. For a regular bill list of $243,827.37. We have Section 8 rent payments as $147,019.57. There were two tabled bills on the prior agenda for mileage, $58.50 and $93.60. There's no prepaid bill list, so the grand total of all funds is $390,999.04.
Can I get a motion to approve, please?
So moved.
Second, please.
Council President, I'd also request that we would keep the mileage tabled and quite possibly Rice notice that employee for the next meeting. Let's check.
Can I make a motion, can I get a motion to approve the bill list as amended?
So moved.
Can I get a motion?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Wyatt,
Yes, but I'll abstain on vendor 7014.
Councilwoman DeGirolamo,
Yes, with abstain on 78170.
Councilman Fulper,
Yes.
Council Vice President McVeigh.
Yes.
Council President Piazza.
Yes. Okay, now we're going to open the floor to public comment on the agenda items only. Reminder, there's a 3-minute time limit and maintain proper public decorum, please.
I don't know if that's on or not. I'm Joe Miner. I live at 392 South Main Street in Phillipsburg.
Hi, Joe.
At the last council meeting, I and another citizen pointed out you are missing attachments. For the sake of transparency, I request that you either include the attachment as specified in the motion or substitute that the item is available for inspection from the clerk. This is a problem. On 32, DVT is missing. 34, the sick policy is missing. The certification of funds is missing from 38 and 42, and the proposal itself is missing from 44. Just requesting that maybe you do it a little better.
Yes.
Okay. Again, also, there's a typo on 40. The authorization actually to pay is missing. Then on 46, it says, and this isn't bookkeeping, this one. Whereas the organization, which is first, has expressed a desire to be placed under the direction and control of the Department of Recreation, etc. This was not the case at the last First Center fundraiser that I was at. Harry Wyatt was there and heard what I heard. Has something happened significantly between now and then that all of a sudden they changed their mind? They were funding themselves completely.
This is this isn't the Firth Youth Center. This is the Firth Town Youth Recreation team.
This isn't the First Youth Center?
It is not.
Wow, I didn't know there were two separate
And
organizations.
Firth is used a lot in the town of Phillipsburg. Sorry about that.
Okay, if this is an organization I know nothing about. I assume that this
That's
organization...
quite okay.
Would anybody tell me a little bit about it, just for tips?
Uh,
It's definitely not the independent on First Street and Anderson.
It is
It's
not the Fredview
that.
Center, it is not that.
Okay.
And thank you very much, though.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hello.
I just noticed you had on the agenda the census, so I just want to leave this up for the meeting next Thursday. I assume you're going to talk about that, the meeting that's on Thursday, or?
I wasn't planning on it.
Okay. When you get to that point, I don't know if there's public comment allowed then, or?
It's on the agenda, so you can talk about it now if you want.
Yeah.
Okay, so on the agenda, you're going to be talking about putting together a complete committee, complete count committee for Phillipsburg, because they are an underrepresented municipality in the census, and we need to get the numbers up in Phillipsburg. So on Thursday, there's a stakeholders meeting. It's at the county college, and I'll leave them up here. It's from 4 to 5:30. It's to be able to teach people how to get these committees up and running in the municipality. We've partnered with the health department, so any municipality that needs help with getting this local complete count committee up and running, we'd be more than happy to help them do that, so that Phillipsburg has 100% representation on the 2020 census. So they're up here for anybody who wants it.
Oh, thank you very much. Is there anyone else?
So I think it's
Name and
difficult.
address, please.
Emil Britson, 94 Bowman Street. I think it's difficult for people in the back to hear some of the things. Does this actually work?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't-
that's a recording.
That's the recording device, yes, for the minutes.
There's no microphone for,
Microphone.
I mean, there are times when
Stopped working.
people are facing this way, they're not talking very loud.
Is this an agenda item, or is this public comment?
It's public on site, on agenda item.
I actually came up to comment about agenda items, but I thought that I would mention that as an issue. Okay, so I had a question about the proclamation for School Choice Week. I Googled school choice week, and one of the things here is, what is school choice? School choice means giving parents access to the best K-12 education options for their children. These options include traditional public schools, public charter schools, magnet schools, private schools, online academies, and homeschooling. I'm wondering whether the idea of having a proclamation for School Choice Week, is that just you're supporting that? I mean, I don't think we have any charter schools or magnet schools. I don't know that people have a choice to go to one public school or another, certainly. So my question is there an interest in these kinds of things and taking money away from the public school budget in Phillipsburg?